We'll look this way. Jeff Boschee, the first McDonald's selection ever from the state of North Dakota at one guard. Corey Maggette headed to Duke. He's out of Oak Park, Illinois at the other guard. Richard Jefferson, who will play at Arizona at one forward. Jerron Rush is headed to UCLA. He's the other forward. And Minnesota-bound Joel Przybyla is the center for the East All-Stars. Ronald Curry, you figured, would start here near Hampton, and he will. And the other backcourt mate, Ted Dupay, who will play for Florida. Jason Capel headed to North Carolina, along with Chris Lang of the forwards, and Dan Gadzurek, native of the Netherlands, undecided on his eventual college selection. Bill Littlepage is the East head coach from Hopewell, Virginia. 34-year veteran, the 93 National Coach of the Year. Rudy Carey from Denver's East High School, a four-time state champion. 3 of those at Manual High in Denver and 1 at East High. 4-time Colorado Coach of the Year. So we're set to go. The 24 top high school stars in America. And the rules undergo some changes from what you're no doubt used to. They play 20-minute halves. And we'll start with an alley-oop from Dupay.
Not too bad. Has Lang finishes. Little man-to-man by the East right now. The West didn't give you much of a shot, huh?
Dupay known as a shooter, but that's not all he can do. Perfect alley-oop to start things, and they try to work it in on the west side to Przybyla.
And the West go man-to-man as well.
Curry with a burst, and then caught nowhere to go, and Przybyla takes it away. Boschee ahead on the break. Loose ball right into his hands and knocked free.
I'd like to see a little half-court offense early here, Dave. I don't think we're going to see too much.
For Brett. What a finish by Jason Capel. And 1.
Now, that's a popular name in this area of the world. Jeff, his brother, outstanding performer for Mike Krzyzewski down at Duke. And, of course, the dad, coach at Wake and ODU. How about this for a nice little finish? Przybyla, Clem Haskins delighted to have him in the fold. Outstanding shot blocker.
Jason with the three-point play. Played his first 2 high school years here in the Norfolk area, Chesapeake's Indian River High School, and then transferred to the #1 program probably in the country this year, Frederick, Maryland, St. John's Prospect Hall.
Pretty look as Rush gets the easy feed. Przybyla showing playmaking capabilities.
They're mainly looking forward to him at Minnesota for his defense. He has averaged in the neighborhood of 10 blocks per game. That one attempted down low for Chris Lang. 35-second shot clock, no zones. You can get 6 before you're disqualified on fouls. 1 and 1 only on the 10th team foul, and everybody's got to play at least 10 minutes.
That's a referee rule. No zone.
They consulted with you.
Look strong.
Rush tried it at first, and Przybyla with the slam off the miss. Terrific athlete at 7'1".
And they feel he just has to get a little bit stronger. And talking to different coaches who've seen his growth.
Pull up by Curry and a straight-on banker for 3.
Did you see him play football?
Only
on tape?
Just on tape, yeah.
Big decision for him, too. Outstanding. Great leader in both sports.
Well, it was surprising to read that as Rush gets to lay in, it was very surprising to see that he was so discouraged about the early end of his high school season. They actually thought about playing football only. That's when Virginia came back into the picture. He was talked out of it. Oh, Maggette. Oh, on the finish, Rush. Mercy.
That gave everyone a little rush. Jerron up big. Now, that's a gamble pass, incidentally.
Curry at the other end.
Talk about finishing in traffic.
2.5 minutes in, 10-8. That's about right. That's about what you'd expect.
How about that one, though? That little trickery, tomfoolery will get you nowhere. Maggette going to the bag early.
Ted Dupay, the all-time leading scorer in Florida high school history. Ed Zurich shows a little athletic ability by not landing directly on Przybyla. And here comes Richard Jefferson out of Phoenix. Moon Valley High School short on the 3.
And that one's from Moon Valley, and they don't get back defensively.
Curry already with 5. A little bit too quick for his own good on the crossover.
Well, we thought we'd see a little excitement in this game, and Corey McGetty, I thought he just slapped this basketball. How about the gather at the rim? Sword! I don't know if a lot of the coaches will permit that during gameplay next year. What do you think?
Get it out of their systems now would be a good idea.
Well, it's an all-star game.
On the reverse, Jeff Boshi, who will play at Kansas out of Valley City, North Dakota. North Dakota Player of the Year as a junior.
Came on the national scene at the Nike camp. Outstanding performer.
Buffet trying to feed Lang, who's headed to North Carolina. A lot of these names you're hearing for the first time, but a year, 2 years, maybe 4 years down the line, they'll register.
They'll be household names. Hopefully a lot of them will stay in college for the duration. A lot of spec with pro scouts here. Premature leaving, or some of them even thinking of going out of high school, which I don't think from hearing people they're ready for.
Curry misfired on the three. Well, all but 2 NBA teams are represented here.
How about Joel running the floor there?
Top center of the nation. Ed Zurich on the offensive glass, lost it, backed up strong. Volleyball on the east side and finally pulled away by the west. And McGetty works it up. McGetty headed to Duke out of Oak Park, Illinois, Fenwick High School. Boshi tries the off-balance bank. Curry with a 3-on-3. 1-on-3 works for him. And a nice job just hanging on the possession by the East as Dupay misses another 3. Here comes McGetty again.
Shows his range.
Oh, the no-look feed for Boshi and another miss reverse. McGetty will do it himself.
Now, there are some guys who are made for all-star games, and I saw Jay Billis, who was a talented player. He was not made for an all-star game. That's my guess now. Solid, terrific basketball player, but a lot of flash in these games. I don't know. We'll hear from Jay on that a little bit later.
Missed 3 by Capel. But you know what? All-Stars would like to play with the Jay Billis because he'd be the only guy out there.
Oh, he'd rebound, guard, take good shots.
Our first break, 15:05. A lot of breaking already going on in a 14-10 start for the West. They lead by 4. 14-10, the West All-Americans over the East. Early in the first half, the 21st annual McDonald's All-American game. Let's go to Jay Billis.
Dave, Corleone Young, a senior out of Hargrave Military Academy in Chatham, Virginia, is not going to play tonight due to an injury. The other night, he aggravated a previously existing abdominal muscle strain in the dunk contest, and he will not be playing tonight. And picking up on a point that Bill Raftery made a little bit earlier, I think I'd be quite valuable in this game. It seems to be in desperate need of a screener and an inbounds guy.
Ray Young, the setup, and the miss finish finally put in by the West All-Stars.
And, Jay, I saw Corleone Young play up at the Garden. What a solid inside performer. Speaking of, God, Zurich.
Godzilla dunk by Dan Zurich.
Well, you say, oh, my God, if you're guarding him.
Eric Barkley in for the West, got that last bucket. This is Rashard Lewis out of Alief, Texas, Elsick High School near Houston.
Got to put a little stop there, get in the stance. A little blow by as Dan was counting the house.
Lewis, one who has not committed to a college because he is one of those considering going straight to the NBA. Barkley, the nice setup for Quentin Richardson.
Now, I've got a little line. Tom Konchowski says that Barkley deals like Trump, dishes like Julia Child, and delivers like Domino's.
Oh.
Woohoo! I had to give him credit for that one. That's too clever for me, and that's too good. Let him get to the rim. Then get Zurich taking over.
This is Eric Barkley, headed for St. John's out of Pittsfield, Maine. Richardson will head to DePaul and pulled away by Vincent Yarbrough from Cleveland, Tennessee for the East. 3 in a row by Gad Zurich.
Wow. The word on him, he's a man amongst boys. You know, GW placed him up at Governor Drummer. Now they don't, or Dummer, I should say. He plays hard. They're not sure where he's going. Kentucky for Midnight Madness, Kansas, now UCLA in the hunt. Who knows? Might also be UCal Berkeley, another one of those in the hunt.
Played on the Massachusetts private school state champions this year, just his 5th year of organized ball out of the Netherlands. And a nice moment during the timeout as the crowd recognized on their feet John Wooden, the Wizard of Westwood, who's on the advisory committee for this game.
Now, as you know, I had a very poor coaching record. One night my wife said, take the garbage out. I said, I don't think John Wooden does. And Joan said, well, if you won as many as John Wooden, I'd take the garbage out. Well, one of the unbelievable performances his days at UCLA.
Rashard Lewis again getting inside. Got Gav Zurich up off his feet.
Some great names involved. A little bit of semi-post. They really understand how to play offensively. That was Harrington with the Jordan-like post up, 10, 12 feet out.
Vincent Yarbrough got the finish. And Quentin Richardson, the tip on this end. Whitney Young High School in Chicago, the best out of that public league this year. The top 2 teams most of the year in the USA Today. Straight on 3 and a nice touch as it rattles home for Al Harrington. He's been a little bit busy the last 24 hours.
Jay talking about his day yesterday and able to win the state championship in the evening after the trip. Gatorade Player of the Year in the afternoon.
Rosie O'Donnell in the morning.
Sydney, no less, by the way, on the Rosie O'Donnell show.
That's hit by Richardson. Then they win the state championship last night for New Jersey. Then he comes here and takes part in this game. Dupay on the reverse. And draws only the second foul of this game.
And Dave, this game I've been involved on and off for about 10 years. It's all about helping kids, and they've been doing it for more than 20 years. And $1.5 million goes to the Ronald McDonald House charity. It's just a comfort and care for children across the U.S. and 25 countries. This goes to the Tidewater Ronald McDonald. This particular event, 195 around the world. We visit one in Chicago when we're out there, and it's just incredible. The pediatric cancer research, the United Negro College Fund, others that benefit from this.
Well, some amazing numbers for Ted Dupay. Past Chris Corcianti, the former North Carolina State star, the all-time scorer in Florida history. 41.4 per game, a high of 70. That was in a playoff game.
Yeah, he can fill it up. And he's actually made some nice little passes.
11:47 in our first half. Running and gunning in Norfolk, Virginia, the West by 3. High scoring first 8+ minutes in Norfolk. And not only the Final Four going on in San Antonio this week, Thursday, 9:30 Eastern here on ESPN. It's the 98 Slam Dunk and 3-point championships. Felipe Lopez from St. John's, Ruben Patterson from Cincinnati, Corey Brewer from Oklahoma, many others in the Slam Dunk contest. In the 3-point shootout, Bryce Drew from Valpo, Steve Wojciechowski from Duke, Pat Garrity of Notre Dame, Billy Thomas of Kansas, many others in that as well. And participating in the women's 3-point contest from Old Dominion right here in Norfolk, among others, Tisha Penichero. Felipe in the 94 game, 24, 7 out of 13 shooting, the MVP in the 2-point win for the East.
And I happened to be up at that game at Alumni Hall. It was exciting. And on the floor now, Eric Barkley, who is going to St. John's. Outstanding point guard out of Christ the King and then MCI. And this is something that they feel will really make that team go. His ability to distribute and run a show.
This is Stromile Swift, one who is still making up his mind about his future. Very smooth.
How about Swift and smooth?
Yeah.
Not a bad combo.
Best player in the South, most feel. 6'9" out of Shreveport, Fair Oaks. And the West by 5. Harrington wants to show some 3-point range.
How about that? Here's a throwback youngster, though. As a high school kid, he kept getting better. Roselle High first. 5 points as a freshman. Just grew, got better. Devin Boyle got the best out of him. It's a wonderful career. And how about the state championship? They've been knocking at the door, St. Patrick's, New Jersey, for a while.
Lewis tried the 3, rebounded by Vincent Yarbrough. A little behind the back, and Harrington can't quite run it down.
Frank Williams trying to put a little extra in it. Going to be a point. They feel he finds a way to beat you. That's not one of the ways, though, that behind the back out of bounds.
Tennessee getting another McDonald's selection this year. They've had 3 in a row, right? Tony Harris last year, Charles Hathaway the year before.
Not too bad.
Off balance miss by Harrington, but Kevin Lyde, Oak Hill Academy, mouth of Wilson, Virginia, the 14th Oak Hill selection on a McDonald's historical list. They pop up as far as producing McDonald's selections about as often as North Carolina and Kansas and 3 or 4 other schools do in signing McDonald's selections.
As often as they sell them at McDonald's, huh? Little giveaway. But Kevin Lyde, one of those fellas that's going to fit right in at Temple. The philosophy, the half-court offense, he's perfect. He's got good hands and good post moves.
Jay Billis, how would you play the big man in this game?
Well, Dave, I think the first thing I would do is try to push them off the block, maybe a step and a half off the lane to force them to make a solid post move or maybe a face-up move. One of the things I've noticed in the workouts and the scrimmage yesterday is that these guys all enjoy playing out on the perimeter, and they can all certainly dunk when they have a lane to the basket, but they certainly need to work on their post moves, and they will all improve their outstanding talents.
Tayshaun Prince tried the three-pointer. And Harrington losing it. Going to be a slam for Swift. Pretty much, as you said, Jay, either a slam or a three.
How would Coach K like the defense, Jay?
Harrington, the setup. Lyde, the finish.
Very impressive around the rim.
Down for the West three-point miss, Barkley. And a 3-on-1. Barkley, the only defender. Yarbrough.
A lot of numbers. Yarbrough finishes it off, and they come right back. Tayshaun Prince with the finish here.
Well, they ought to have numbers on this end because they sure didn't hustle down to Barkley's defense.
The scorekeeper's going to be tired at the end of this evening, I think. Have a little stop, guys.
That's an NBA 3 for Harrington. A little energy still left.
Good motion offense, Jay.
Barkley, and the setup finished by Lewis. Rashard Lewis with 6. Also Rush and Richardson all have 6 to lead the West All-Stars. Mike Miller has checked in, the Mitchell, South Dakota product, headed to Florida. This is Danny Miller, Mount Holly, New Jersey, who has signed with Maryland.
Good outside shooter, athletic. Wanted to be close to his brother Greg, who's at Delaware, which is not far from Maryland and Gary Williams.
We're shooting near the 60% range so far. Missed three-pointer by Quentin Richardson. It was rebounded by Lyde. Some of the big bodies a little more developed than the others.
Good help defensively.
Tayshaun Prince in particular, Bill, if you look at him next year, the year after, strong enough to do that, but he's going to look different, I think, in another year.
He'll buck up a little. Don't you love the little guy, Eric Barkley, finding people? Christ the King. Bobby Oliva, such a great performer for him. Pretty good D here.
Stripped Yarbrough. Not only the best passer here, might be the best little man on the defensive end. Richardson with 8.
And Barkley with 3 assists. They ought to get him out of the game. Giving it up too much.
No, they may never let him get out of this game.
Oh, that's bad defense there.
Really opened up, but Frank Williams couldn't get it. Frank Williams, another Peoria Manual product, headed to Lon Kruger's program at Illinois.
So he's a pretty good penetrator. Slick going to the 10.
Timeout, 7:42 in the first half at the Scope in Norfolk, Virginia. Still the West on top. 35 over the East. Don't miss tomorrow night the NIT Finals, Madison Square Garden, the Minnesota Golden Gophers, led by Sam Jacobson, taking on Pete Lisicki in the Penn State Nittany Lions, 7:30 Eastern tomorrow. First NIT final from one conference since '79, but they're also both from the Big Ten. Purdue, Indiana that year, Minnesota, Penn State. Bill, you were there last night. These are teams that really turn their seasons around late.
Boy, they sure did. They split during the course of the year, and you think of Lisicki and Crispin, 2 solid performers, but I know Jay's got a chance to look at Calvin Booth in the inside. It'll be tough to handle for Minnesota.
Well, Calvin Booth, an outstanding big guy. He really improved from last year. We all knew he was a great shot blocker, but really improved his low post game. And I know, Bill, you were awfully impressed with Georgia as well, all the athletes they have, along with Jermaine Jones.
How about Jermaine? I mean, I saw him early in the year, Jay, and between then and now, what a vast improvement in his total game. Get it out of here.
Stromile Swift introducing himself to Mike Miller.
Stromile up quickly. I mean, the ability to elevate in the lane and good assistance to it. He's off his man. That's usually where the best shot blockers loom. Ready to assist.
Kevin Lyde out to Frank Williams for the three. He gets the rebound and the payoff. 6 for Kevin Lyde.
How about him transfer to Oak Hill January of his sophomore year? And what a job Steve Smith did with him.
I'll say not about finesse. That's not really part of his game.
Little rebounding assistance there to the West.
Ray Young has the West's first three-pointer. He is out of Alameda St. Joseph's in California. If that sounds familiar, that's where Jason Kidd went.
Then Calvin Bird, Miles Tarver. Speaking of Minnesota, that's his alma mater. He then went on to MCI. 2 years ago, I met Frank Laporte. God rest his soul, was their coach. Now Gordon Johnson takes over. Outstanding program year in and year out. And I guess Ray's going to light it up down in Westwood, huh?
Yeah, and a tip and another tip. That's 4 point-blank misses by the East All-Americans. And almost turned over before Tayshaun Prince lays it in for the West.
I tell you, the East didn't bother getting back at all. They mishandled that break, and no white shirts recovering.
Williams for Yarbrough. Lyde strong enough to get that shot off, although Swift reached in, had hand on it behind the back bounce. Richardson for Prince.
Now that's 2 fast breaks. Undeterred. You got to get back, guys. Jay, you'd be doing line touches for Mike, wouldn't you?
Absolutely. And Tayshaun Prince, you know, his brother Tommy Prince was at UCLA that transferred to Pepperdine, so basketball runs in his blood.
Now, Jay, you were the top player in L.A., what, 82? Tayshaun is the top player in L.A. this year. Any difference in your game?
Just a little bit. I was really good at taking charges, and he's really good at making me take a charge.
I think you were a little bigger physically, though.
Danny Miller answering the bucket by Richardson. West by 6. They've led virtually throughout. That's 5.5 minutes to go.
Cities were first pass. I'm sorry, Dave. It breaks down with guys dribbling on their own, not making the pass and cut. Now, if they played like this with their pals, they wouldn't go out and enjoy the game.
Got it around to Lyde. Williams spinning away from Swift. 4-on-1. He'll take it and miss. He has missed way too many wide open layups and dunks, and this one knocked out by Swift.
And everything but on the finish. Mike Miller, physical inside. One of those kids that grew up late. How about this one, Dave?
Watch and listen.
Woo. I know Jay can go to the tin, but I don't know if he had that kind of authority as a high school senior.
I don't know if he could do either. The authority or the sound effect. Lyde in and out back in.
Well, they rave about his low post ability. And John Chaney loves guys who are comfortable with their back to the basket.
Corey Maggette for Jeff Boshi. Richard Jefferson. Everybody's got to play at least 10 minutes. And the starters back on the floor for the West All-Americans. Sharon Rush missed that one from up top. He thought he was going to Kansas. Now he's not. He's going to UCLA.
Well, I got the biggest kick out of it, and this is happening with young people anymore. He's deciding that he doesn't like the way things are done at a program. He's substituting patterns.
Now, mind you, this is not a program he has set foot on yet. Mike Miller for the East.
And who would ever contest Roy Williams? I mean, one of the great coaches in America. And they're going to get there. They've been knocking on the door.
Little head fake by Maggette. Richard Jefferson headed to Lute Olson's program in Tucson. Down the road for him. Miller for Miller. Mike for Danny. Mike Miller down the baseline. Nicely done on the reverse. First ever South Dakota McDonald's All-American.
Dane Fife ran all around the perimeter, never got a pass. He was wide open all the way.
What do you think? Over, under, 2 passes?
Oh, two, you might be taken out of the game. You got to get it off the floor when a guy's free.
Ronald Curry has returned for the East. And it's been showtime for Curry since the opening tap. Playing basically in his backyard out of Hampton, Virginia.
How about him? All-state football, basketball, all-state offense and defense. Incredible. And this is some of the strength he may have used to ward off would-be tacklers. A little high, kiss doesn't go down. But that's got to hurt Virginia in a sense, that commitment early, verbally, and I guess the Jeff Jones moving on made it a little easier for him.
Well, he also admitted that one reason he committed early was to get all the other recruiters that he wasn't going to consider off his back. And it did that, but definitely disappointed a lot of the Cavalier fans. Timeout, 3:22 in the first half. The East has nudged ahead. Full house at the Scope, 10,000 plus. The East All-Americans trailing most of the way in this first half, but on top at the moment, 48-47. Flashback to the not too distant past, and the big finish by a guy now known as Shaquille O'Neal out of San Antonio Cole High School. Sean Kemp. Whatever happened to those two?
I have no idea. I'm sure they're still attacking the rim.
With Indiana for Sean Kemp, and selections who did not attend college. Garnett, Kobe Bryant, Ronnie Fields, Steven Jackson. That's a mixed group there. There is some success, but there are also some cautionary tales.
Oh, some failures. You think of Ronnie Fields, great talent, not being able to go to college and play in the NBA, still working his way up. Jay, what kind of a rule would you like installed here in the offensive end?
Wouldn't mind seeing a little bit of a 3-pass rule, but these players are so talented, Bill. It's nice to see them get out and run. But we watched them earlier in practices and their scrimmages when they passed the ball a little bit more, and was certainly prettier to watch.
I just think in general, fans given a choice would take a great pass over a great dunk.
And a great block, too. We mentioned the shot blocking ability. He's responsible for more rejections, Isabella, than the Harvard Law School. He does present himself. And you think of Clem Haskins' defense, real solid, not a gambling approach defensively, but you can lead him inside now. What a force he's going to be for the Gophers.
Curry with the quick hands.
Yeah, he usually comes up with those, huh? When his halfback drops the handoff.
Ron Curry, top high school football and basketball player in the country. How many times do you think that's happened? He was the parade football National Player of the Year, and the McDonald's basketball National Player of the Year.
And that shot's normally a knockdown for Danny Miller. Gets 20 points a game in high school.
Bochy. Look at all the red jerseys all going up ready to hammer that one down. They all come up empty, 4-on-1, no looker, and a block by Jefferson.
What great hustle. He did not give up on it as Richard sprinted the floor. Now you've got to do it, pass, catch, and finish. I think he got a little too deep here, Ronald, without a decision, and sort of the defense, Bochy could react in fine fashion. Maybe give it up and let the guy get the angle to the goal. And right here, Richard in full extension.
Corey Maggette gets a hand on the inbounds pass, knocked it out for the West. East inbounding, 2:28 in the first half. 508 McDonald's All-American selections, including the 24 in this game. Over 97% have gone on to play Division I ball. Over 100 are active in the NBA today.
Incredible, isn't it? And the number sort of scares you, though. A quarter of the 460 honorees are playing the NBA. I hope the others studied hard.
Lob into Lyde and knocked away for Danny Miller. Lyde not expecting the return.
There goes the alley-oop.
Getty banged that one off the backboard. and Rashard Lewis not the intended target, and was trying to get Jefferson, but 8 now for Rashard Lewis.
How high did Jefferson get up? The pass a little bit too high, and they get a little sloppy and careless right now.
Former selections in this game in the NBA. 41 NBA rings won by 18 former McDonald's All-Americans. 8 MVPs won by, well, most of them Michael Jordan.
Well, he does have a few, but the selection process, so thorough. And Dick Starman, an old friend of mine, senior VP with McDonald's, wanted to be sure he had people that were admired and respected in basketball circles. And that's why this is such a distinctive array of talent and held in such high esteem by basketball people. The McDonald's All-American game.
Chris Lang, set up by Curry. Lang once again had his hands on it. Lewis too strong, and he ripped it away.
Nice pass. Now that's good basketball.
That time they worked it a little bit.
Pretty look, right on the money. Curry, McGetty, he does like to give it up. I'll say that for him.
Wait for Jerron Rush as he's fallen. Dane Fife headed to Indiana for the East. He's completed his high school season last night. They lost in the semifinals in Michigan, Clarkson High School.
And there's that committee we referred to, Tom Konchowski, Howard Garfinkel, 5-star camp. Sonny Hill, one of the luminaries, there he is. The Wizard of Westwood, Morgan Wooten, what a great story that is. God bless him. Kidney transplant, able to get back into coaching. And the only loss he had was to the coach that was fortunate enough to give him that transplant.
Dane Fife, brother of Dugan, formerly of Michigan. A lot of people figured he would follow in his footsteps at the University of Michigan, but he'll play for Bob Knight at Indiana. Second selection from Clarkston, Tim McCormick, who went on to Michigan. First McDonald's pick from there. Romile Swift out of Shreveport had 6 for the West.
He is impressive. Good inside moves, acrobatic. The more you watch Swift, he does run well. We talked about his mobility, quick off his feet.
Jason Capel launches the 3.
And that'll keep the dad is the only man in the building that's a college coach. He gets the permission because of his son. There's the quiet period, only it's sort of something crazy about that. Only pro scouts permitted.
There are dozens, literally, of pro scouts here. Maybe a little offensive goaltending to let it go, and Curry there to finish it for the East. Final 22 seconds of the first half. Nice save by Lewis, but it's to Miller. Curry ahead for Fife in the 2-on-1. Knocked away. What a defensive play by Eric Barkley. 5-on-none at the other end as well.
Barkley, you can see, defends, and he loves to give it up. Fran Fraschilla will be smiling. They get one off here. The Johnnies were looking forward to having him at the point. Barkley with solid play.
Good first half. As the West All-Americans take a 3-point lead into the locker room over the East, 57-54. And after we take time out, we'll join ESPN News and then more of the 21st annual McDonald's All-American High School game.
Well, you can tell that Ted Dupay has a big heart off the court. He has it on the court as well. An outstanding three-point shooter. He won the three-point contest on Monday. Dave?
Big heart and a big talent.
And Dave, when you think of it, 4 years at 5-star camp, he was the MVP the last year. But his high school coach was Frank Morris, who coached Billy Donovan at St. Agnes, who obviously is the Florida coach. So the little connection.
That completes that circle rather neatly, doesn't it? Dupay out of Cape Coral. You see those eye-popping numbers he put up at Mariner High School this year. Mike Miller, the first ever selection from South Dakota. Also headed toward the Donovan program in Gainesville. Power forward in size, 6'8", 210. Can handle it like a point guard. No question where Dupay will spend his time at 5'10", maybe. That may be a liberal 5'10".
And if you like to shoot threes, you're 6'5" in that program. They do give an inch or two. As we check out the West, Rudy Carey, Denver East, Mark Perlmutter. Mark, the assistant at KU under Larry Brown. And he's doing his duties to his boss, saying hello to the daughters, Brandy and Valen.
Bill Littlepage, Hopewell, Virginia, head coach of the East. West starts the second half with a 3, rattled home by Jeff Boshi. North Dakota Player of the Year, headed to Kansas. Ron Curry. Out of bounds still to the east.
So we talked about Dan Gadzurek. He does get involved and plays hard. And this is good for Joel Prisabella, too. I think just to defend here, got a little hand here. Look at him reject. What a presence. Save the P in the whistle. Play on.
Gadzurek, those 6 points, not anything that really gains your attention unless you saw the way he got those 6 and how powerful he is.
Well, they say he's a human slam dunk, and some of those would be testimony to that.
This is Chris Lang out of Hunter Huss High School, Gastonia, North Carolina.
And known as a good passer. Jay, the big guys, they're setting up pretty low there. It's tough to control them when they're in the 3-second lane.
He's an outstanding. Dan Gadzurek is an outstanding athlete. He is a shot putter as well as a discus thrower. He was a New England champ.
Jay, stop that one. Where were you, Jay?
Oh, man. Jerron Rush redefining the term hang time. How long was he waiting for that alley-oop? Curry with a 3. He has 11. Jerron Rush yet to sign with UCLA. He has verbally committed. McGetty, a little sleight of hand. Missed 3 by Boshi. Winning the battle and then missing the putback was Rush. Jefferson likewise. He's ball to Curry, ahead to Kickle.
And could give up. His granddad is here as long as with his dad. And Jason out in the opening. Curry giving it up.
They will see that connection again the next few years in Chapel Hill.
Little fly pattern? Is that what you're suggesting?
Yep.
For Bill Guthridge and company?
Ron Curry says the plan is he's going to play football until at least the start of basketball practice, and then it will depend on whether he's actually playing football. If it looks like he would be of more value for basketball, then he'll switch over, but he will start in the football program at North Carolina. Richard Jefferson's first points, and now all West All-Americans have scored.
And Jeff Boucher with a beautiful little dish as he drew the attention.
Gadzurek making up his mind.
That's where you got to defend him at there. Joel Prisabella doing a better job. Get him away now, turn and face, and go back on the other end. That's pretty tough to defend, Jay.
Well, that's exactly what Prisabella wanted to do, though. Push him off the lane, force him into a tough shot. Give credit to Gadzurek for making a terrific post move down low.
And we're actually seeing some sets here. We're seeing some plays.
Are we?
Well, we're seeing the sets. Maybe not the plays. Curry. Dipsy doodle him inside for Capel, who's fouled.
Corey Maggette is a very confident performer. This is the little giveaway early. Good hustle by Curry. And Jason sending it in strong. Pretty good combo. And there's the fellas you mentioned earlier.
All 3 of them headed to Carolina. Hampton, Frederick, Maryland, Gastonia, North Carolina, sending them to Chapel Hill.
I bet that doesn't bother Jay at all.
Always like to see the ACC do well.
Oh, I'm sure you do. Well, your alma mater certainly has some great prospects, young guys, and I guess Carolina playing catch up a little bit.
Red Duke is represented here. Here's McGetty headed their way.
He does not need much down there. They say he's a Dwayne Farrell clone. How about that one? You agree with that, Maggette? Jay?
Well, Dwayne Farrell was a great player at Georgia Tech, amongst a bunch of great players. They had a lot of McDonald's All-Americans. So I think McGetty will fit in very well at Duke because he attacks the basket, very athletic, and he can also get out and defend. And you know, in Mike Krzyzewski's system, he has to play defense if he wants to hit the floor.
And we all have these scouts. A couple of the comments he handles, but shot selection. He'll learn that down there, won't he?
Corey Maggette, the top player in the Chicago Catholic League, which means you are one of the top players in the country.
Acrobatic. Great finisher in the lane.
Curry missing the 3, and Prisabilla there to start the fast break. Out to Maggette, waiting for him was Capel.
And, you know, he should get an extra foul for trying to guard, though. Jason stepping in, maybe call the walk before. Good play. Maybe they're stepping up a little bit.
I don't think we're going to test one rule, the 6 foul out. I don't believe will come into play.
Pretty good cut. Jason got caught. Not much of a screen, just lost his man as the rush starts like he began the game. In a hurry.
West yet to get a free throw. Wow. First half, there were a total of 5 fouls called. No one has more than 2. Capel just picked up his second. Ron Rush, another state championship this year, Pembroke Hill High School in Kansas City.
Now, Jay, you played a few All-Star games, correct?
I did, yes.
And were they a little more wide open than this or more controlled?
Not quite as wide open because the athletes weren't as good. I think these young men have gotten so athletically superior over the last 15 years, it's hard to imagine you could be any better.
Laying caught with nowhere to go. Jefferson will go ahead for Rush, and we know he knows how to finish.
He can finish in a rush. They can smell that juice in the open floor.
That indicate how much Kansas talent there is when they can say goodbye to him before they even really say hello. Capel at the other end.
Well, they're deep, you know that, and Roy obviously is confident in their ability. Here's a little alley-oop to the box, and Joel gets some problems with traffic.
On Curry serving that one up neatly for Chris Lang.
And to finish, I think Roy knows that he can attract other players. Kiss jumper.
Oh, Getty going up with Capel and a well-earned foul. He'd take that foul every time.
And I know what Jay means about athleticism. Oh, is that elevating? Well, you can negate in a friendlier way, but this is with aggression. And Jason figured he's got an easy one. Tough to double clutch when you're exposed with one hand. You can't even dip your head, Jay.
That is what they call a confrontation at the rim.
Oh. So Capel earning those free throws. Second from his school in the last 3 years. Named to the All-American team.
Yeah, he's put on a little weight. Worked a little bit. Now he goes inside just like he did there. Complete player. Indian River High School transfer. Alonzo Mourning's old high school.
Mourning, a former McDonald's selection. We look up and down the names. It is the who's who of the last 20 years or so, high school basketball.
And you mentioned Mourning. He came in and spoke to the players, and they said he did a heck of a job. Georgetown grad, one of John Thompson's great centers.
Patrick Ewing, another one.
Yeah,
a former participant in this game.
Kemby Matumbo, not here, but one of the former centers.
Barkley gets in deep, serves it up for Stromile Swift.
Some guards can get in deep and nothing good happens, but there, he drew the body. Now he gets to steal the open floor. You can't relax.
Gift for Eric Barkley.
Dave Gazurek doesn't realize they play 94.
Talking about Georgetown, Swift still listing Georgetown as one of his possibilities.
Boy, what a great performer he would be. I saw him today after his dunk. He was waving at the TV cameras, got a lot of personality.
And lied. And Harrington may be in a competitive situation. A goal 10, not here.
A little danger zone, huh?
Not here. Barkley with the three.
Now, they were saying in a game he makes that shot, and in practice he sort of flicks it. I mean, that one was an excellent follow-through situation.
Right back with the three. Capel, third of the game for Jason.
End of the year, they beat Oak Hill for the mythical national championship. You can see why with his ability.
Leading scorer in this game now, 16 for Jason Capel. Hometown product. Steal for the East All-Americans by Harrington. all the way through for Al Harrington.
How about his energy and stamina? In a tough couple of days, but it wouldn't look like that for Al.
Rush with a 3. Score from anywhere. And then the steal by Maggette to the deck. Tied up. Possession arrow will keep it on this end. 13:59 to play, and a timeout in Norfolk, where we're all tied at 76 in the McDonald's All-Star All-American High School game. Dead even here, 76-76, just more than 6 minutes gone in the second half. Wichita, Kansas, the site. 1981 McDonald's All-American game. Kid named Jordan out of Wilmington, North Carolina. That night set the record that still stands, scoring in the game 30 points. Never better than the McDonald's Classic.
And how about him? He was cupping that ball going to the rim, still doing it. And he's got a ring for every finger. Look at the talent in that game. Bill Wellington, his teammate. Of course, Chris Mullen lighting it up for the Pacers. Chris didn't get many shots in that game, it looks like, huh? 2 points.
Harrington or Wennington didn't either. That's something less of a surprise.
Yeah.
All 3 of them still going. Turnovers. He's suffering a little bit more, and points off turnovers, you'd figure, would favor the West. By 7. Played 6 minutes, 6 dunks, all told already here in the second half. Kevin Lyde has 10.
That's exactly what Jay was talking about. You get a guy in that deep with that ability, there's nothing you can do. Tough matchup, too. Strohmeyer, not the physical type of center down there.
Barkley sizing up Curry. Quentin Richardson, first half scoring leader, along with Rashard Lewis, now with 12.
Just sort of outjumped him, didn't he? They say he's the most improved since last year, Quentin Richardson. Just 3s last year, now he's got more to his game.
March Madness, the finals, midnight Eastern tonight, here on the ESPN. Pat Kennedy of DePaul, Gene Cady of Purdue, and Bob Huggins of Cincinnati, sizing up the Final Four from Chicago, highlighting the tournament to date.
Capel active, gets a second chance, a repeat, knocks it down.
Whistle on the shot at the other end. 18 now for Jason Capel, 12 in the second half.
This is a referee's delight, by the way, this game. This is a boat ride. Coaches aren't getting after them. Players are just going up and down. Incidental contact, play on.
Pittsfield, Maine's Eric Barkley, Maine Central Institute. Champions of the New England Private School League this year. He was the MVP of 3 different tournaments this year. As Capel gets a nice hometown hand, he's replaced by Mike Miller.
The line they use for him is he's the master of quiet domination.
I like that.
Yeah, not too bad.
Barkley with a pair.
Jay, you've been here all week. What is your feeling as to the work habits and the ambitions? I think we all know, but the work habits and how do they realize what it's going to take?
Well, I think their work habits are very strong. So they work hard in practice. They've been giving a very good effort. But, of course, they're trying to compete with each other day to day and test their skills. And I know that Rashard Lewis has said that how he performs in this McDonald's game may determine whether or not he goes professional into the NBA.
What's your take on him? Is he ready?
Well, I don't think any of these players are ready. They may get drafted in the first round, but certainly if the money is there, it's a viable option. But I think all of them would benefit from some seasoning in college, and I think the NBA scouts who are here have all echoed that sentiment.
Another capitalist from Duke.
Tayshaun Prince gets it stuck. Talking to a lot of the scouts, and Jay, you're making the point before we tipped it off tonight. So much of it is completely out of their hands, and what it comes down to in so many cases is where they are drafted. If they're drafted by a good team that's pretty well stocked, they're going to sit, and there's no way to develop their game. If they're drafted by a team that's a little more down the ladder, then maybe they get the chance to develop.
And a great example of that is Jermaine O'Neal with Portland. A good team, he doesn't have much of a chance.
How about that little move for a big guy, Jay? Harrington.
Oh, Lewis got one block, almost got another.
That was pretty impressive.
If Richard is basing his future on tonight, well, he has been strong tonight. 10 first-half points and a lot of defense in the second.
Jay, that may have been goaltender, but you got to be impressed with Harrington. Shoots the threes, now putting it on the floor, and he can play physical.
Very versatile, not as athletic as some of these other players. And when you talk about a guy, I think Kevin Lyde has shown very well in this ballgame. Al Harrington taking a look right there, but Kevin Lyde, who will be going to Temple, he will line up alongside a Lamont Barnes, an outstanding big guy. And Lyde may have the most refined post moves of any of the big guys here. He's just not as athletically gifted as a Stromile Swift or Richard Lewis.
So he can drive people nuts at Temple, is what you're saying, is they'll get the ball, they'll utilize him.
Barkley slicing right down the middle of the lane. And 11 for Eric Barkley. Big second half. Barkley at least attempting a little D. Picked up Curry before midcourt.
And we got a little hedge on the high pick and roll. We got something going here.
Curry likes that straight-on bank. That was his,
I don't know if he meant that.
His first volley of the night was a straight-on banker 3. Right after the opening tap.
And once again, Barkley with the dish.
82-82. A 11:34 mark in the second half. Very competitive McDonald's. 82 apiece with 11:34 to go in Norfolk. Coming up immediately following our coverage of the McDonald's All-American game, the Striped Slam Jam. This took place on Monday. Corleone Young, Stromile Swift, Ronald Curry, among the better efforts. Perfect 10 in many cases, and you'll see the entire coverage coming up next. 98 Striped High School Slam Jam. Among the past winners, Baron Davis now at UCLA, Lester Earl, Vince Carter still busy, Jerry Stackhouse, Jimmy King, one of the Fab Five.
I saw Vince Carter this weekend, and in the open floor, none prettier and maybe none more exciting.
Shooting has held steady for the West and has picked up for the East. Mainly because they've kept it in the hands of Capel, who's put 18 on the board, 12 here in the second half.
I was going to ask Jay about the Final Four weekend, but I don't want to ruin his evening.
I think you already have.
What his thoughts were?
Missed by Dupay. Tayshaun Prince. Rail thin, but he is fun to watch.
Now, you saw him before. He wants to be a two-guard, and he's got that awkward kind of a shot. He had a little neck ball on it, but he is pretty going to the rim.
3. Right back by Frank Williams. Now, who does this guy right here, Prince, physically at 6'8", 190, reminds you of who also used to play in this building? I'm not talking.
You're not talking George Gervin.
Sure.
Yeah, you're not Julius. Yeah, very much so. Slight. Don't knock the skinny guys now.
I'm not knocking it.
Nice. What a career.
Julius Erving among the first ever to put this place, this Scope Arena, on the map.
Yeah, there's that funny little release. That was deep.
Here's Dupay.
Nice look.
Serves it up well for Williams, and a blind.
Oh, finds a way to beat you.
From the hip.
That's the report on him, that kind of a shot.
Frank headed to the University of Illinois. And another blind feed. This time Miller can't get the jam.
You can see the athleticism in Miller, though.
Richardson, no looker. Served up for Lewis, who I think has 12 all on slam dunks.
Morgan Wooten said they've broken the record for slam dunks. They're continuing that pace. How good can he be, Lewis?
Dupay, the quick release as he elevates with the right hand.
Well, they all talk about the deep shot. Not too bad, that little penetrating, little kiss smooch delivery. What's your take on Lewis, Jay? He can do some amazing things, for sure.
He's got some great talent, Bill. I think he's got to get a little bit bigger, and a couple of years in college certainly wouldn't hurt him, but he's got all the tools, all the skills. And I know some of the NBA people have said they would like to see him stay in, but if he does come out, he'll certainly be a first-round pick.
Now, a word that I heard today was unspoiled. Really needs a good program. Would you subscribe to that, where they really dictate drills?
Absolutely. He's got a lot of work to do on his game, whether he can do it on the NBA level or in college. Certainly college would be better for his development, but as you know, right now with the financial situation and the money being available, it's a viable option. It's just a question of whether the young man wants to take it now or wait and improve his game.
Well, they had high hopes at the University of Houston bringing him in. He's from Alief, one of the Houston suburbs, and the questions were asked again once they announced that Clyde Drexler would take over the Cougar program next year, but he said he has eliminated the U of H from consideration.
Even with a name like Clyde, it's tough to come in late because personalities have developed and feelings. Wouldn't you agree with that, Jay, in the recruiting process?
Well, it was always my policy, Bill, never to commit to a school whose coach can outplay me.
I wouldn't have been at many programs myself.
Lyde going to the bank shot. It works for Curry. Straight on. Why not for Lyde, who missed his first 3 free throws?
I'm going to tell Mike about that comment, too. He's a pretty good guard, you know.
15 now. Lewis going away from the dunk to show his 3-point range, and Dupay cannot answer for the East All-American.
It is an effortless release, though, as she gets close.
What a missed layups. Seen him all night. Williams spinning through the backcourt double team. Over the shoulder, Lyde, the latest to miss, and Miller. Bottom of the iron, but fouled by Swift.
Pretty clever, huh? Almost took his own ear off. Frank in the open floor. Slick is the word. Clutch kind of a performer. What a nice delivery. Now, how do you think John Wooden would have handled that one on the sideline?
Not well, not quietly.
Would he give him the Sparky Anderson, bring in the right-hander? He was basic, fundamentally sound. And you think of Walt when you make that statement. Everything, the ball held up, the way he squared, turned.
Walton tried that. You'd soon see Swen Nader.
Now, Bill wouldn't try that, I'm sure. Just an incredible run as the head coach. Purdue All-American.
Danny Miller finishing up his outstanding career. Mount Holly, New Jersey product. He was all-time leading scorer.
I'm looking at John over there. I'm thinking Marv Harshman actually gave him his last loss. Bobby Bender with a great one with Washington this year. But during the regular season, John went out with the NCAA championship.
You know, you can remember wooden losses because there were only a few, maybe one a year. Danny Miller.
They're getting up a little extra. That rim had rejected a few. Rattlers.
In his 10 championship years over a 12-year span, he lost 10 games in those 10 years. All told.
Utterly incredible. Some great memories. Walton against in St. Louis, that final game.
21 out of 22.
Yeah, that's right. Just
3 by Dupay.
One of the great games against Memphis.
This is Boshi, Valley City, North Dakota.
Will he fit in nicely? The ability to fill it up. Roy will be looking forward to getting him. Shoots threes well. Fit right in that system.
Dupay, normally serving him up, had it in his hands that time. Thanks to Lyde. Lewis with 17, and he leads the West All-Americans, one more than Jerron Rush.
And they don't get back down. Actually, Swift got a piece of that ball on Williams.
Battled in by Lyde.
He just keeps plugging to see what Jay means.
13 for Lyde. Not too far behind the East leader, Capel. Richardson the second time.
It is a game above the chin. Something I certainly don't relate to, but love watching.
The foul by the West, Quentin Richardson. I think the 3 best passes this half have all been from Williams.
Well, he does have a wonderful ability to penetrate. Gets in that lane, can play the point or the shooting guard.
Big in the opposite, 6'9", 250. Lyde, the wide body, headed for Temple, and Prince, 6'8", 190, headed for Kentucky.
And your point about George Gervin is well taken. He does have to get a little stronger, the inner strength. I don't know if he'll fill out in abundance, but get a little tougher, a little stronger, get some meat on the pipes. He's not going to have to match up with the big guy here, but Kevin will have his difficulties on occasion, I think, with foot speed. Jay, would you say that if he has to guard? Because that zone, they hide him pretty good.
That's exactly right. And he'll match up very well, I think, in that matchup zone that they have. He does a terrific job, John Chaney does.
Step up big. How did you like Turner's performance, Jay?
Amazing off the dribble. I thought what he did with his penetration was really the key to Kentucky making that great comeback, coming back from 17 down with 9:58 left.
Ed Cota for North Carolina, also former McDonald's All-American. Pretty much any year, you can look at North Carolina's roster, you're going to have half of them that played in this game.
Well, I think those two programs may have the most consistently, Jay, Duke and Carolina. That's why they're on the top of the ACC every year.
They do. North Carolina has had 37 McDonald's All-Americas since the inception. Duke has had 26. And they are 1 and 2 all-time in McDonald's All-Americans on their roster.
And are we surprised that Jay had that at the ready?
I love working with a lawyer.
Well, you need one.
I sure do. On and off.
Oh, big range by Vincent Yarbrough. Future Tennessee ball. Has 9 points. Here's Prince.
And they feel that he lets the game come to him.
Ray Young with a miss. Curry has come back for the East. Foul before he served it up for Gadzura.
You know the amazing thing, Jay, and you've seen the advent of this, I think, during your course of playing and now observing, the dribble penetration is so hard to stop. I mean, you can't help off a guy, and it's almost impossible for one guy to hold on to him.
Well, that's always what we mean when we say break down the defense, because it creates help and recover situations. Guys have to come down from the top. Nearly impossible to stop when it's done well because it creates so many openings, and that's why Wayne Turner, Ed Cota are so effective.
Wayne opened up for Curry, lost it, got it back. Couldn't get the shot past Brizabilla, but he does strip ball. Oh, what a feed for Gadzura.
Well, the human slam dunk, the beneficiary of a little sleight of hand and a wonderful field on the bounce pass.
Out there for Richardson, Brizabilla hammered. I have a picture right now of some Virginia fans that are just getting ill watching Ron Curry.
Well, I'm sure Terry Holland would agree with you, but how about this one? The steal, knowing where individuals are, perfectly catchable. What a feed.
Joe Brizabilla, top center in the nation, averaged right at a triple-double, 18.5 points, 11 boards, right at 10 blocks for Monticello, Minnesota.
They say he's a kicker rather than a kicky. He gets out there and bangs and works.
Harrington,
he got a piece.
Unstoppable.
That he is. Well, it's a worldwide game. I should have got the Netherlands when I was coaching after watching this.
Well, Rick Smith, the first dunking Dutchman, may be the second right here. Brizabilla. And back out of bounds into the hands of the West.
Well, Jay mentioned confrontation earlier. This is outright aggression. Ooh. It is scary. They don't get you with the jam, they get you with the shout. And unfortunately, Brizabilla went over and got a piece of one, and nobody's going to cover your guy for you.
Big block by Yarbrough. Well-timed leap right in the face of Rush.
Now, you mentioned him going to Tennessee. I think he was going. His half-brother, Del Baker, is at Tennessee. Yeah, that's good enough reason to go, huh?
Barkley fought three. Maggette out of the trap. Barkley's had some superb moments here in the second half. That's not one of them. He chases it down.
I got to kick out the spacing right there. They had all 5 red shirts on one side of the floor. Do you think they're chasing a pill, Jay?
Maggette drilling the three. Lead down to 2 for the East. They trailed at the half by 3. Rush had midcourt stripping Capel, but not able to keep it in down.
When you made your decision, Jay, in high school, who helped you? Family as well as coach, or was it?
Well, very much my parents. My mother and father were very influential in my decision. Actually, Pete Newell was very important to me in my decision-making process.
You hope these players have the same kind of structure, don't you?
Well, it's so important to have that kind of guidance because really they're the only people that care about you the most and want to see you make the decision that's right for you.
Harrington gets Zurich. It may have been a walk, but I'd rather watch him dunk than listen to a whistle.
It's no more Godzurek, it's Godzuk.
Godzilla.
He is aggressive.
I think the scouting report on him is keep him out of the lane at all costs.
That's right. You get 2 bodies on him, I think.
Back-to-back threes by Rush, 19 points. The postscript to that scouting report is good luck. I don't see anybody in this game succeeding at that. Yarbrough, three-pointer. 2 threes for Vincent, 12 for the game.
They think when he gets a little bit stronger, Vincent, he's going to be pretty tough right now.
Maggette for Swift and knocked away from behind by Jason Capel. 3 minutes and 18 seconds to go as the East nurses a 6-point lead, 113 to 107. The Diamondbacks usher in their major league era as West scoring, led by Rush 19, Lewis 17, Richardson has 14, and Strohmeyer Swift with 12, also double figures. On top for the East, the hometown product, Capel 18, Curry right there with 15, and Lyde and Godzurek have each powered in 14.
And Dave, our congratulations to Bob Gagan, founder and director. It's flawless the way they run this week for the players. Dick Starman, who we mentioned, the senior VP, they just make sure it's first class. And it's all about kids, as they've done with the Ronald McDonald House charities for over 20 years. And you get a chance in your local community, stop in. It's a rewarding experience.
Barkley tried a three. Rush reached in, created the steal, and then Barkley throws it away. 113-107 East. A little over 3 minutes left.
I think I'm having a hard time picking an MVP here. Jay, you got any thoughts?
Well, it's going to depend largely on who wins, but Eric Barkley's done a nice job in this ball game distributing the ball. He hasn't scored a lot of points, but I've really enjoyed watching Rashard Lewis. He's been outstanding.
The East wins. It's going to be tough between this guy, Curry, and Capel, because they're going to split the hometown vote.
I think that the house is going to go for them, Jay, for some reason. Most of the media from the area as well.
Capel's got 18, and Curry has 17.
Well, having this in Ronald Curry's backyard has really pointed up something. He has had a tremendous amount of pressure on him in making his decision. He announced at a press conference yesterday he would be attending North Carolina to play both football and basketball, and you could see the relief in his face when he finally made that decision. He's been asked so many questions, had so many cameras pointed in his face. It'll be nice for him to finally go to North Carolina and get it over with.
Yeah, out of the limelight when you go to Carolina, too, right?
Yeah, it takes an awful lot of pressure off. If he had gone to Virginia, and I'm not saying it was the right choice or wrong choice to forego that, but if he had gone to Virginia, he'd be expected to be the savior.
Loose ball picked up by Al Harrington, almost never missed in the first half. A little bit more under control in the second. Capel got it down. He has 20.
Speaking of savior, a lot of people think Harrington will be a savior wherever he goes. And Jay, you had mentioned Georgia Tech, Seton Hall, I guess St. John's, North Carolina State. Anybody else in that mix?
No, I think that's the mix right now. And Al Harrington, everybody waiting with bated breath for him to make his decision.
Yarbrough waiting with bated breath for that return feed. Well worth the wait.
Well, think about the lineup he's going into with Hathaway, Tony Harris. That's going to be a fine team under Jerry Green.
And off a nice year, too. Here's a little action.
You know, the hometowners missing the connection that time. Capel left it up there near the rim for Curry. Oh, but you saw how he elevated. And how about him at 6'2", he may be 6 feet. He's not.
Yeah, he's not real tall. You're right. The ability to turn the speed up, too, as Barkley got himself to the rim.
These are the guys still making up their minds. Got Zurich, Harrington. The last three, Lewis, Swift, and Young, all considering the NBA still.
Now, any coach would say, give me those, huh? Jay, you can do pretty well with that group.
Any one or all of them.
All but a couple of NBA teams have scouts here. But pretty much unanimous, the scouts would prefer not to be here. Nothing against the players or the event, but they would prefer that it not even be an issue for these players where they're going to head in their immediate future.
And hopefully the NBA and the NCAA can get together on some thinking, some collusion in that area. But Jay, these players have it all on a plate right now, and some will go in the right direction and some will struggle. The basketball becomes so important for some that when it's taken away, they have their difficulties. And I'm sure you've seen a few people in your career.
Well, it's an individual decision on whether to go pro or go to college. But just because, and you know this, Bill, just because you're a McDonald's All-American certainly doesn't guarantee you success. There's an awfully long way. And as we look at the lists of all the great McDonald's All-Americans who've gone on to stellar college and pro careers, there's also a long list who have not done quite as well.
Yeah, one of the names that jumps out, Mike Miller, is a 6'8" performer going to Florida, and he was a guard and grew into being that size and has a great feel for the game. A lot of players have to continue growing as performers as well, and the hard work is just beginning because you got guys your size you're competing in quickness with.
Well, the West led by 3 at the half. It's been that group, the East, that's dominated in the second half. Largest lead up to double figures. We head down to the final minute.
Frank Williams, another guy that's played well. Some people performing.
15 for Harrington. Home is tomorrow night. The NIT Finals from Madison Square Garden, Minnesota and Penn State at 7:30 Eastern. Brad, that's a tough one to pick.
And very even teams, I think. Jerry Dunn's club has played very well. Jarrett Stevens, by the way, Jay, I don't know if you knew this, he was injured last night. 6'7", fell and hurt his knee, and he will not be playing. They're concerned about how bad that strained ACL is. But that should be a great confrontation.
We haven't seen a whole lot of Dane Fife. He might be a little bit winded. He played in his Michigan State semifinals last night. Last guy to arrive on the scene today.
Bob Knight was raving about him during the course of the season. Loves his aggressive nature, how tough he is, how competitive. Two sport guys are generally that way. Little high kids, Fife, slow down.
Dane Fife broke his brother Dugan's state scoring mark, a record that was previously held by their father Dan. He's handed it all the way down to generations. Fife at 35 seconds, full ball handling exercise. Pass Richardson.
Trying to get him on the board there.
Jefferson had him squeezed out underneath. 25 seconds. 4 on 2. The pull-up 3.
And that's the shot you want, right, Jay?
By Ray Young that time. Curry sailed through his 19th point.
Entertaining, Dave Barnett. Yep. It's been fun, right?
Yep. Didn't get cheated.
Right to the end, the little rim rock.
Well, the East wins it going away, as it turns out. Why not? Count it.
Scored a goal.
22 for Jason Capel. Check it. 25 points for Jason Capel to lead all scorers as the East All-Americans. And Bill Littlepage takes their congratulations from Rudy Carey and the West All-Americans for a 16 point margin of victory. 128-112.
Looking forward to seeing them perform in the next few years. That's the nice thing about this particular game. We get to see them at a young age and see them carry on their career.
And one way or another, in one format or another, you will see them. Mark that down. East wins it 128-112. We'll be back for more from Norfolk, Virginia in a moment. East over the West, 128-112, 19 points and 13 rebounds for Hampton, Virginia's Ron Curry. He is the MVP of the 21st annual McDonald's All-American Game, and he's also with Jay Billis.
Ronald, you had a great game right in your backyard. It must have been a lot of pressure for you all week long to have all these guys here in your hometown and the decision to go to North Carolina. What did it feel like?
Well, it felt great to get a decision off my chest. You know, the guys they kind of figured I would get MVP because it was in my backyard, but I just wanted to come out here and have fun. MVP wasn't even on my mind, you know.
Well, it's not on your mind, but it's certainly in your hands. And talk about, if you will, all the great players you played against. Was there anything you saw that surprised you with the athleticism out there?
Well, I knew they was very athletic. I didn't see them since the 9th grade on up to the 12th. I knew what I was up against. And they played a heck of a game, and we did, so I'm just glad we can win the game and get the MVP.
In all the practices, all the workouts that you had and in the game tonight, who would you say has impressed you the most all week long?
Well, I think Kevin Lyons impressed me. Big Dang from the Netherlands. Jason Cable got better, but I've been playing with him. I kind of expect everybody to come out here and play hard. Al Harrison had a good game, being that he just flew in today. Dane Fife and Vincent Yarbrough. But I think the kid from Chicago kind of impressed me much.
Quentin Richardson, it's awfully nice to have the ball in your hands as a guard out there to be able to determine what's going on in such an up-and-down game, isn't it?
That's what it really is. Being a point guard, controlling the game. You know, every kid's dream. You want the ball in your hands to do things. And I'm glad that I'm not a selfish player. Try to get everybody involved.
If you had to make a decision between football and basketball, I know you've been compared as a quarterback, the best quarterback prospect perhaps since John Elway. What would you choose between football and basketball?
Whichever one I have the most success in college, that's which one I'm going to stick with. So I just have to wait and see how the next 4 years turn out.
Well, I'll tell you what, guarding you on the basketball court, you might need a helmet for that, too. You get to the basket so well. Let's go back to Dave and Bill.
All right, Jay. Ron Curry with 19 points, 13 rebounds to cap off his whirlwind week in the East 128-112 victory over the West. You see, to use the phrase diamonds in the rough, all the physical talent on display, and it's really fun to think about what they're going to look like in 2, 3, 4 years.
I think the pleasure is going to be the coaches, because they get this young talent and are able to mold and fit and glean from these talented individuals, their abilities, and teach them how to play the game. I think that's what's fun for them. Right now, it's all individual in a game like this, and yet what they're going to have to do, just as Ronald Curry talked about, be unselfish and give it up and get everybody else involved and be unselfish. And I think they'll learn, because great players can adjust any situation.
Somebody else who had a big night headed to Tennessee, Vincent Yarbrough. He's with Jay.
Vincent, you had a terrific ball game tonight. You showed a little bit of your outside ability as well as your ability to take it to the hole in transition.
Yes, I've been working on my outside game all summer and all basketball season, and I just came out and made a few shots tonight.
Talk about your decision to go to Tennessee. I know your brother Del Baker is there. You'll be playing with another great guard, and Tony Harris. Jerry Green's really got an outstanding program there.
Yes, they really got it going this year and made it to the NCAA, which they haven't done since like 89 or 87, and I'm real proud of them.
Well, what's impressed you the most this week? I asked that to Ronald Curry, and he said the athleticism, talked about some of the players. How about yourself?
Really just everybody wanting to blend with each other. Nobody really wanted to be a standout, just everybody really being nice.
Well, you had a nice night yourself and a nice player, Vincent Yarbrough. Let's go back to Dave.
All right, Jay, 14 points for Vincent Yarbrough tonight. One thing that comes out of this is lasting friendships, and there are guys who will either be college teammates or maybe college foes, and maybe even beyond that, but sometimes they'll remember back, and the friendship will reverberate 10, 15 years and even longer, and a lot of times it originates in this game.
Well, we both have been fortunate to go to games where before the game, players are shooting around, they get together, and this particular format gives them 3 or 4 days where they get to know one another, can share some of their dreams, their thoughts, their ambitions, and it's just such a wonderful way to develop friendships and obviously continue them for the rest of your basketball career.
West led by 19 apiece from Quentin Richardson and Jerron Rush, 17 for Rashard Lewis. The East takes the victory, though, 128-112 before the sold-out house of 10,000 plus here in Norfolk. The Sprite Slam Jam coming up next for Jay Billis and Bill Raftery. Dave Barnett, thanking you for joining us from the Scope Arena in Norfolk, Virginia. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.
Yeah. They say it's all right. They say it's all right. Say it's all right, have a good time, 'cause it's all right.